trail riders and horse lovers. So glad to have you back with us on our next video. Today we're going to show you a little something different. We're going to teach you the basics of horsemanship. This goes for any breed, any age, whether it's an adult horse or a young horse. There's some basic fundamental things that they need to be able to do to make them a great partner. Now, today we're going to talk about drive and draw. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't really think about. So it's really a good idea to think about drive and draw. And when I talk about drive and draw, that means if you go out to catch your horse, does your horse run to the other side of the pasture? That means you've got a lot of drive. If the horse is running over you at the gate, that means you have a lot of draw. Now, what we want in this is equal balance. So as you see here, first with Miss Bellamy, this is our little Grula filly. She's only 6 or 7 months old right now and just getting started in her equine education. I'm getting her used to my tools. I have a stick and string. Now, I use the stick and string as an extension of my arm, not as a whip. So as you see, I rub her with it, I flick the string on her, and that simulates sort of like the tail of the mare. So you'll see a mare swish her tail at a foal to get it to kind of do what she wants and to sort of soothe it in a way or knock the flies off of it. So I had to get her used to my tools first. So here again, and that's called desensitizing. You'll hear people talk about desensitizing. Now, I'm working with her primarily right here in zone 1. That means I'm in the front of her. 1 is the head, 5 is the tail, and the other parts are in the middle. 2, 3, and 4. In order, by the way. So right here, I'm trying to get her to do a couple things. Well, one thing, but I'm doing a couple things. I'm trying to get her to move off of steady pressure, which is my stick. So I'm putting the stick there on her chest to get her to move back. Well, I'm sort of cheating a little bit because you see I'm wiggling the lead rope using rhythmic pressure to help her figure out what the steady pressure means. So see, I'm sort of doing 2 things at one time. And that's okay. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So instead of spending all day working on just getting her to move off that stick, I'm adding that rhythmic pressure combined together to get her to where she'll move off of just the stick. So here again, now I'm creating some draw. I've been doing some driving, moving her away from me with steady pressure and rhythmic pressure. Now I'm creating draw. And I'm not pulling on this rope. I'm just combing it through my hands and letting the energy bring her forward. So it's not a pull. It's just let it slide through your hands as you comb the rope. Now I'm rubbing her, letting her know everything is good. She's been doing the right thing. She wags her tail like a little puppy dog, which is really kind of cool. And again, this is the very beginning. And you see, now I'm moving over, like here I'm moving more into zone, well, I'm back in 1 now, but I'm in zone 2 area. So she needs to be able to move off the steady pressure in the hindquarters. See, I'm putting it there on her hip and off the front end. Now you can also do rhythmic pressure, but right now I'm working on steady pressure, and later on this is going to lead to my leg. So when I put my leg back when I'm riding her, she'll understand what that steady pressure means and that it means to move away from it. So here we go again. I'm asking her to move off of my stick, pushing on her hip. I cheated a little bit there. You saw I bumped her head a little bit just to kind of give her the idea so I didn't have to stand there for half an hour, because sometimes I don't have a half an hour to work on the one task. So I cheat a little, and that's okay, because eventually I'm not going to bump that rope. I'm just going to use my steady pressure. And with babies, you know, your window of time to work with them is short too, because their attention span is really short. I really realize that with these young ones, because they get sleepy, tired, or thirsty. So especially this little filly, she'll be like, I'm done, I'm tired. So you only get little windows of time to work on things, and nothing is going to be perfect. I'm only getting maybe one step in the right direction, but that's okay, because I'll get another step the next day, and I'll get another step, and eventually she'll be doing all the fun things that my big horse does, and know all this stuff. But this is where it starts. It starts on the ground. Before you ever put a leg over a horse, your horse needs to know these things. These are the things that will keep you safe and keep you having fun with your horse. These are just the very, very basics. But most or a lot of horses have never had any of this type of stuff done with them. They don't understand it. Most people skip it. They brush over it, go right to riding, and that's usually when you find out that later on down the road something happened and things go bad. And then this is where it all starts. So if you can get all these things, and this is just the very beginning, you're going to see us go through the whole process with these babies, because we want you to understand what it takes to make that dream horse. And you've got to have all the parts. If you don't, it's kind of like having a car that's missing some parts. It's going to break down on you somewhere along the way and leave you stranded or leave you hanging. So again, see, here I am doing more of desensitizing with my tools. I've only been doing a few tasks here, just a few things. The driving, the drawing, using steady pressure, rhythmic pressure, desensitizing her, moving into different zones. Because see, here I'm in zone 2-3 area here. You need to be able to do all these things from all the zones of your horse. So you even need to be able to stand behind your horse and get your horse to move forward or turn. So that's just too cool once you get to do it. You feel magical. So we're hoping that taking everyone back to basics and letting them really understand the importance. Here I'm playing the driving game. Now you see I've got my stick, and I'm not hitting her with it. I'm waving it in front of her zone 1, her head, so that she will turn. And this is going to come into play later for other things we're going to do. But this is teaching her to move out of my space instead of pushing into me. Horses have a natural instinct to want to push into pressure. A lot of people don't understand when you pull on a halter or pull on the lead rope, they think a horse is pulling away from you. But a horse is actually pushing into the pressure on the top of its pole from the halter. When you pull on that halter, it pushes down on the top of their head. So they're pushing against that pressure. So their nature is to push against and into pressure. And I'm having to teach her to move off of pressure, to move away from either steady pressure or rhythmic pressure. Steady pressure is direct contact. Rhythmic pressure is energy, maybe your hand waving or your stick waving in front of them. And you can combine the two to teach, but you want to go back and individualize them so that they know both, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So here I'm using steady pressure. I switched. I was using rhythmic pressure to turn her. Now I'm taking my hand and putting it actually on her, probably at her shoulder and maybe on her nose or neck area to push her over. So you can switch back and forth. You can combine the two. But this right here is the beginning of everything. It's the beginning of teaching your horse to lead, teaching your horse to follow, teaching your horse to go, getting them to do things, getting them broke to ride. It starts right here. And if you've skipped any of these things, or you may not know your horse, you may not have had it when it was started. But if any of these steps were skipped, there's holes in there that we need to go back and fill in so that we can have a confident and willing partner. It's all about the relationship, and it's all about being a good leader. Horsemanship is not about the horse. It's about the human being a good leader. So again, we're going to try to bring these videos to you guys, and hopefully you will learn from watching. And if you have any trouble or want to know more, come to one of our events. There we go. See, steady pressure. I'm pushing her over, pushing her away from me, driving her. So you drive and draw, and you got to have it of equal balance. Because like I said, when you walk out there, you don't want your horse running to the other side of the pasture to catch it when you go to the gate, but you don't want it plowing over top of you either. You got to have that perfect balance of drive and draw. And I'm using the stick there as an extension of my arm to create energy behind the drive line. The drive line is right there about where the neck and the withers go together. And when I put the stick behind the drive line, she's learning to move forward, which would be later my energy of me riding, using my legs to go forward. See, I tap, tap, she goes forward, and then I just keep the stick there as support. I'm kind of rubbing her with it too as she goes. And then whenever you move the stick in front of the drive line, you want the horse to stop. Now here I'm disengaging. I'm asking for a disengage of the hindquarters. Now that was driving. That was driving her rear end away from me. I want 2 eyes, not 2 feet. So here I'll let you finish watching this little clip of her. She's a fun filly. We're going to have a good time, and you're going to enjoy watching more of her as she's learning, because she's at stage 1. So I hope you'll come back, watch some more of our videos, and please come to one of our events. We would love to share more with you about horses, building a relationship, having confidence, having fun, and living your dream with your horse. So see you on our next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe to our channel, and happy trails.